Welcome back, everybody, to 3 Point Lines here on the Parlay. I'm your host, Luca Rosano, alongside my co-host, Noor, Zainab, and we are back on this fine Monday, ready to go, hoping to pick some winners. There's only 4 games tonight in the NBA, so we'll see if we have an easy time or a tough time. I, myself, have had a tough time to date. My picks have stunk. 30 of 57 overall, 52%. I am just barely over that 50% mark, but my goal, Noor, is to at least get over 60%. How's your record looking at this point of the season?
Better than yours. I heard you talk shit last time, Luca. But no, honestly, we talked about this too. And I feel like this is that part in the NBA where the elite teams just take a back seat until All-Star weekend. And they're kind of just like all the other bottom seeded people who have to move up in the standings kind of move up then. But yeah, they make us look dumb, but we're here again to try on a brand new Monday.
Yeah, I feel like the underdogs have been cashing in. I don't know what it is. I mean, I don't want to get too off track here, but very quickly, just take Sunday's game, for example. Raptors were, I think, 8.5 point spread favorites against the Blazers, and they lost that game outright. So you never know what you can predict in some of these games. And we'll see if we have another wild set of games in the NBA. We are going to begin Knicks, Cavs. The Cavs, pretty big spread here, I want to say. 6.5 point favorites at home against the Knicks. Who you taking?
Yeah, you know what? On a different day, I probably wouldn't go the Cavs route here, but I think this Cavaliers team, especially now that they're able to get a little bit healthier and they understand who's going to be in and out of the lineups based on who's going through a longer term of injury, they're really getting themselves together and going up against the Knicks team that's in my opinion, just very inconsistent. You don't really know what version you're going to get any given night. They're on a back to back right now. They did beat the Clippers, but they're going to be traveling. There's going to be that fatigue angle added to it. And then going up against Jared Allen and Evan Mobley in the paint, have fun with that. If you don't have Kemba Walker, good luck. What's going to happen when it comes to offense, especially when the Knicks rely on one guy to really have a big night? So I know it's a big spread, but I'm feeling kind of cheeky. I'm going to go with the Cavs here. What about you?
Yeah, I think even Mitchell Robinson, his status is up in the air. This is going to be an interesting game because I do think the Cavs could dominate inside, like you said, if they could get their bigs going like Mobley and Allen. But I do think the Knicks might make this one close because you look at the Knicks, they are 5-2 against the spread in their last 7. They have been playing much better lately, and they're actually 4-2 against the spread on the second night of a back-to-back. So fatigue could be an issue here, but they're taking on a Cavs team that they're 1-4 against the spread in their last 5 home games. And they're also going to be missing Markkanen, who's averaging 13 and 5 rebounds per game. So that's going to actually be a big loss for the Cavs. He's been pretty reliable for them. I think this is going to be an even keel game. I can see this going down to the wire into the fourth quarter. And I know the Cavaliers are a really good team, but something just, says for me to pick the Knicks here. They have been turning the tide a little bit, and I can see them keeping this one close. So I'll take the Knicks. Wouldn't be surprised if the Cavs do win because overall they have been a really good home team. But don't be surprised if the Knicks can keep this one interesting with their offense and look for guys like RJ to have a big night. So I will side with the Knicks here.
Yeah, honestly, they're the kind of team that can really have a big night any given night. So they could be a safe bet, especially going up against the Cavs team. And now the other matchup of the night, the Indiana Pacers versus the New Orleans Pelicans, and they're -3 favorites here.
This
Who
is
do
probably the
you?
toughest game to predict because
Yeah.
there are a ton of players out on both sides. I'm going to quickly go down here. Brogdon, Levert, McConnell, Sabonis, Turner, and Warren all out for the Pacers. Graham, Ingram, Lewis, and Williamson, of course, out for the Pelicans. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to take the Pelicans just because they have had success lately. They are coming in hot, winning their last 3 home games, and that included wins against the Clippers, who I know are depleted, but also against the Warriors, which is no easy feat. I know the Warriors have been slumping lately, but you look at this Pacers side, they just got a lot of problems right now. And if the Pelicans can at least try to slow down Sabonis, they got nothing outside of him. And actually, sorry, Sabonis is going to be out. So yeah, the Pacers are literally going to have nothing tonight.
Yeah.
No offensive firepower, no offensive punch. Their defense is going to be a mess with Sabonis and Turner out. So there's really nothing going for them here. They're going to have a long night, I think, against a Pelicans team that they have shown that they can win games without Williamson. The big thing is BI is going to be out. So where's the offense going to come from? But I trust that there's enough there for the Pels to get it done. And hey, maybe this is a night for JV to go off. We've seen it before. So I will take the Pelicans here and pay the price of 3.
I think I read somewhere JV also might not be playing for tonight either. So this game is really going to come down to who of the role players want to just go off tonight, right? And based off what we have for the Pacers and for the Pelicans, I just like the Pelicans roster better. I think they're more constructed to be able to win against teams even when they don't have their best players available. And like you mentioned, they're on a winning trajectory right now, and their coach understands what they need to do and where the plugins need to be taking place based off who's missing in each game. So against this Pacers team, that's also has been, like we mentioned, they're a bad team. They're not a great team, but they can really cover the spread, which is like, the story of the season. But they do that against elite teams, not against the Pelicans. So I'm going to take the Pelicans at -3 here, but I do think it's going to be a close one just because both teams are missing literally everyone.
Yeah, I don't know who's going to play in this one. I mean, Josh Hart, he's probably going to have a big game. That's what makes these games hard to predict, too. You look at the injury report for both teams and you're like, who's even playing in this one? You think someone's going to go and then they're a late minute scratch. So we'll see who goes in this one. But we do both have the Pelicans winning and covering this game. Okay, next game. Talk about a ton of injuries. The Bulls right now are going through a ton of injuries. They're going to be taking on the Thunder. But surprisingly, the Bulls are still favorites here, -2 on the road.
Weird, especially after last night. Strange. What does Vegas know that we don't know? Especially because they're going to be in a back-to-back here. But I think this is the luckiest back-to-back stretch you can honestly get as an NBA team if you're going to be playing the Hornets and the Magic on a completely night basis. But they lost to the Hornets last night, so let's see how they turn this around. Like you mentioned, it's going to be a completely injury-ridden team. You're not going to be seeing Caruso, Ball, Levine. It's going to be an entirely DeRozan show, which is why I think that he's going to take this night to really go off. He's been having amazing nights throughout this season, especially as of late still. And I think just against this OKC team that is just not, one of the best teams. They are learning and figuring themselves out. And they just don't have the people that could really stop DeRozan if he wanted to get it going. You have Shea, which is why I think they would be able to keep it very close. OKC is that team right now that hasn't been winning, but they cover the spread really well, meaning they keep the games very, very close. So I see why it's a smaller spread. But I just want to give the edge to DeRozan here. I think it's going to be his night to go off, and he's not going to let his team lose 2 nights in a row. But it'll be a fun one. What about you?
Yeah, he dropped 40 plus in his last game, coming in a loss against the Magic. Very surprising though how they were just beaten by the worst team in the league. Yeah, this pick might surprise some people, but I'm actually going to go with the Thunder. The Bulls are not on a good path right now, and I feel for them because injuries are really destroying something truly special. And you see what happened with Caruso. That sucks to see. Grayson Allen suspended 1 game. He deserved more. I mean, that is not what you want to see. And it did look blatant. And I hope Caruso can come back soon because he's a big part of that team. He's a bigger part of that team than most people give him credit for, especially defensively. The Bulls are just riddled with so many injuries. You already said it, Levine, Caruso, Ball. This is going to be a game where DeRozan probably has to drop 40 again for them to want to win it. And Vucevic is going to have to go off too. But I look at this Thunder team. They're going to be in this game generally healthy. They're only going to be missing Derek Favors, and this has been a pretty safe bet. You alluded to it. I got some numbers here to back it up. 7-1-1 against the spread in their last 9 home games. 5-1-1 against the spread in their last 7 games against the team with a winning record. So that tells me they are keeping games close against good teams and beating some of them. And the last one I have here is 14-5-1 against the spread in their last 20 games overall. I know I got you switching your pick now mid-show, but the Thunder, I cannot bet against the fact that the Bulls have all these injuries and the Thunder have been a pretty safe bet against the spread lately. So this is basically going to come down to who wins or loses because the spread is so low for the Bulls. But I would not be surprised on the second night of a back-to-back, the Bulls lose again to the lowly Thunder.
You kind of have me sold, not gonna lie. But I think I'm just a homer. I'm hoping for a big DeRozan last minute clutch shot, whatever it takes. But damn, you might be right. Those numbers really got to me. Anyway, last game of the night, probably the game of the night. We'll see how this fares. Utah Jazz versus the Phoenix Suns, where the Phoenix Suns are favored by 9 points. What do you
Yeah,
think?
we'll see if stats are my my go-to here, and if they don't come in, I'm never looking at stats again, but I'm also going to be riding with some stats for this one. So you look at this game, both teams, they are headed in opposite directions. The Jazz have been a mess lately. I don't know what's going on with them, looking like pretenders, to be honest with you. And then the Suns, they have just been destroying everybody. I mean, how can you bet against this team right now? And the Jazz are coming into this one 7-17-1 against the spread in their last 25 road games. So this team has not only been able to lose at home, but they've also been losing on the road pretty badly. And they're going to be coming to this game without Donovan Mitchell, who's still going to be in concussion protocols, and also Rudy Gobert. So you're talking about the Jazz's two best players out of the lineup. Who is going to step up for this team when you go up against arguably right now the best team in the NBA, who is going to have their backcourt intact? So I look for Chris Paul, Devin Booker to have a big game. And yeah, this is going to be a tough time for a Jazz team that they're still trying to figure themselves out. I think this is not the way Jazz fans envision their season going so far. Obviously, injuries and guys being out in health and safety protocol can contribute to that. But the Suns, I know it's a big number here, but they have just done everything right lately that you cannot bet against them right now. So I will lay the 9. Give me the Suns to blow out the Jazz.
When did they make the Gobert call? Was that
Uh,
earlier?
I did see that the Jazz will be without him or could be without him. So that's the last I
Oh,
read.
that's
So it could
crazy.
change, but that was
Okay,
kind
yeah.
of what sold me. If Gobert somehow does play, that might change a little bit. But if he doesn't, I'm riding Suns all day. So let me just make that known to people listening.
Disclaimer, because I had my other show this morning and I knew that Mitchell might not be playing, but I did not know about Gobert. So I actually picked the Jazz to cover the spread. And it's gonna come down to who's playing now, obviously. But like Luca mentioned, Suns are a team that if you want an easy win, an easy bet, that's who you take to win any day of the week. They're fantastic. They have the best backcourt. They just have the right pieces around everyone, and they're showing everyone that last year was not a fluke. This is something they can do no matter what at any point of the time. And the teams that they were going up against in the playoffs that people were calling the better teams are now struggling for a play-in spot or even contending at that point. So they're a fantastic team. And like you mentioned, the Jazz are just not on the same wavelength that we have pictured them out to be ever. And it's really strange to see why that's happening. I think there could be some internal stuff happening still with Gobert and Mitchell. They have been alluding to it. There's also been crazy rumors here and there, but it just doesn't make sense why that team that's so good cannot convert right now. And but for some reason, I think that they're still not a terrible team. They're still a team that can get it going if their defense can click. They're kind of like the Raptors, where once their defense clicks, their offense clicks as well, and they really need their defense to get going, which is why they do need Gobert, I think, at all times. Like, I kind of almost think Gobert is more valuable to them than Mitchell might be in certain aspects, just because he's able to anchor that defense, which is the main part of why the Jazz stay in games all the time. And if he's able to play tonight, I think they can keep it close. I think Suns win, but I would give the Jazz the edge to cover the spread there then.
So I am looking at it right now. There could be a bit of confusion because, yeah, 14 hours ago they listed him as questionable because obviously he exited the game with a leg injury. But now, 41 minutes ago, this is according to Hoops Hype.
Oh,
Gobert out against the Suns with a calf injury. So if Gobert doesn't play, I think it's really hard to find a reason,
yeah, flip my pick. It's,
yeah,
it's
for the
just
Jazz to
Cavaliers
cover. So
Suns.
we talked about this at the start of the show. Injuries literally change every single second. So we'll roll with what we do know up to the minute, but a lot more can change as we get closer to tip off. But for better or for worse, those are our picks. Let us know what you think. You can connect with us all over social media at The Parlay. You can listen to this on Apple Podcasts as well. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow with more NBA games and hopefully better records. Thank you so much for watching, guys. This is Luca and Noor signing off. We'll catch you all again tomorrow on 3 Point Lines here on The Parlay.